You are now watching Zach Lesage, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Word up. Today we are going to be covering over Umbreon VMAX. Now this is a deck that Jake Pilch was able to take all the way to second place at Chill, and I absolutely love this deck. I altered a few cards out of their list, and it's one of those things where I think they got it pretty close the first time. So very awesome list overall. Check them out on Twitter, and great job to them. The list is in the description, so feel free to copy and paste that into PTCGO while we play along. And if you like Umbreon VMAX or my content, give this video a thumbs up, like. Really does help boost the YouTube algorithm and helps me out as a content creator. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 5,600 subs. Let's get to 6,000 peeps we can get there. And leave me a comment below letting me know if you like this deck or if there's any other deck that you want to talk about. Totally get back to your comments as soon as possible. Let's jump into this deck list. So looking at this list, you'd be surprised and be like, where are the other single strike Pokemon that Zach could be playing in here? It's literally just an Umbreon Houndoom deck, very similar to a single strike Urshifu VMAX deck list, but much better. Looking at Umbreon VMAX, you have Dark Signal, which is very similar to Lycanroc GX, or to anyone who's been playing for a while, Luxray GL level X. Dark Signal allows you to bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon, which is almost the exact same thing as Boss's Orders, but as an ability. So you can use Dark Signal and a supporter on a turn. Well, Max Darkness doesn't seem like a lot of damage. You could power it up very quickly with Houndoom's Single Strike Roar, which allows you to search your deck for a single strike energy and attach it to a single strike Pokemon. Single strike energy allows you to do an additional 20, and it counts as dark or fighting. Now, when you're using an attack like this, you do take 20 damage from using the Houndoom's ability, but your attacks do 20 damage more. Being able to increase your damage output, gust your opponent, and being dark is very good because you could hit a Dragapult VMAX deck, a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX deck, and you hold your own pretty much against a lot of the metagame. There's not too many grass decks out there. Really, Leafeon VMAX is the only one that really strikes me, and it's not necessarily the most played deck. So the goal is basically get a bunch of Houndooms out, gust your opponent's Pokemon up. You can attack with Max Darkness. You also have the option to attack with either Moonlight Blade or Mean Look. Again, those both do get the single strike boost. You have a lot of single strike oriented cards where you have Tower of Darkness, which you could pitch a single strike card from your hand, draw 2 cards, gives you that extra boost of consistency. You have Urn of Vitality, which can get those single strike energies back into your deck. And you also have access to Capture Energy, which allows you to grab some of your other Pokemon like Houndour or Umbreon V onto your bench. The deck works really well. The only thing that I changed about Jake's list is I cut level balls for Great Balls because I have 4 Quick Balls and I have 4 Capture Energies. I figured Great Ball would be pretty good throughout the game to maybe grab a Crobat or anything else, but I do give this deck a gigantic thumbs up. I wasn't a huge fan of it when I was watching it, and then as I was watching it, I became a huge fan. So looked at it on Limitless, I was like, oh, this deck seems like kind of cheesy. Then I was like, oh, now I understand. So I'm really excited to showcase what this deck can do. And yeah, let's jump into some gameplay. So our opponent's going to call the coin flip. We did win the coin flip. Like most VMAX decks, we do want to opt to go first. This allows us opportunity to attach an energy, get set up, and overall we got a pretty decent hands. Give our opponent the nice little hello. When it comes to starting with things, we probably want to start with the Umbreon V. Umbreon V is going to be kind of our main attacker here. So yeah, let's go ahead and put that in there. I was like, why is it the timer going down on me? So we're just going to start with that Pokemon, and we're going to decide to put the Houndour down afterwards. We'll see what our opponent mulliganed, and please don't be grass. Please don't be grass. It is metal type. That's fine. Hopefully there's no Zamazenta, but we can also get through that with Moonlight Blade. Yes, we will easily take a card. Again, not putting anything down. CORVIKNIGHT. So not really the greatest hand, but if we top deck an energy, we can still attack with Umbreon VMAX next turn. And Umbreon V also has some decent attacking options. That's because we can get these energies out with Single Strike Roar. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead here and pass. I like the way that our hand's set up, and I'm not even particularly sure if we want to get Marnied here, because we could get a worse hand. It's also one of those things where I want to get Marnied, so I'm unsure if I want to use Evolution Incense to search through my deck to grab another Houndoom to get set up for next turn, or see exactly what our opponent's doing here. We won't really have a great opportunity to knock them out. We'd have to top deck a raw single strike energy or a supporter that can get us a single strike energy. But I think we're in a pretty okay spot. If worst comes to worst, we could also just go for a mean look and hit for 50. They might just be pitching their hands. Yep. Most players pause before doing that. So they're going to lose a couple metal saucers. But they are in a position where we might be able to like take down one of their supporting Pokemon. Something like that at least. So we'll just have to see what our opponent's playing with Corviknights. I'm glad that they're discarding Kricketune because Kricketune could attack us for weakness if they had some way to get it round or some way to get it built up. But right now I think we're okay. Just really praying for a top deck of a supporter, a quick ball. Like there's a lot of things. We could even get a... I'm really thinking of the cards that we would get that would not be a good top deck. And you got to think about things like Tower of Darkness is an out because we could discard our Urn of Vitality. Most supporters are an out because they will allow us to draw cards. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff. So our opponent's down 3 Metal Saucers, probably something we want to think about. We might be able to bring up their Kricketune and go Mean Look for a turn or two, because they would not have any way around it. Unless, of course, they do play Switch, so we do got to keep that in mind. Single Strike Energy. Great Ball could get us that, so we're actually going to go ahead and go Evolution Incense first, and go for Houndoom. We do want to look through our deck before we go through with anything else. So we can get a Crobat. Crobat's really the card that we're looking for. We do want to get a Single Strike Energy to potentially knock that out, so we are going to go Raw Great Ball. We did get Crobats. So I'm going to go ahead and hope that we are going to be able to get this set up. So let's go ahead. If we get a Single Strike Energy, we're in business, peeps. We're going to bring up this Pokemon. We're not going to use Single Strike Roar yet because we want to draw into it with Crobats. We can do 220, which would knock this out, and we'd probably just be able to win the game. I am going to go Air Balloon here. I can't get rid of those cards. And let's go for Crobat. Single Strike Energy, basically, yep. So we're in such a good spot with Single Strike Energy that we are basically, like, I think we're in such a great spot to win the game. They might just concede here, and this is really how things go when it comes to this. We're being able to go turn 2, 220, which is super vicious. Let's go Great Ball, get set up. I'm going to go for another Houndour. And I don't know if I want to discard this or not. I think this hand is almost worthwhile to discard because we won't be going through too many other things. So I'm just going to go ahead and research so we have options for next turn. At this point, I'm going to go Quick Ball away my last Houndour because I don't think it's something that's going to matter. And I'm going to go for Umbreon. So you can see that I'm now able to power myself up, get everything all set up. And we're going to go Max Darkness. So turn 2, 220, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, we're just absolutely straight ripping. Now, our opponent's set a little bit onto the back burner here, where they've lost those 2 energies. They likely will not be able to attack this turn because they are down 3 Metal Saucers. And our next move, we could bring up, again, another Pokemon. So if they power up a Zacian that they can't attack with this turn, we're going to target it. If they have that Corviknight V, we're going to go ahead and target it. So whichever Pokemon ends up being more of a threat, we're going to target it. And this deck, and that's why it's such a quick beatdown deck, because we're able to go lots of damage relatively quickly, isolate V Pokemon, and you even saw we had a really poor start with no energy, and we were able to get it off of a Great Ball. Had that Great Ball been a level ball, we probably would have not been in business, and it probably would have been a very awkward time. If you are worried about losing to a Zamazenta, you can attack hard with Moonlight Blade. Moonlight Blade does the same 160 because you do damage counters to yourself with Single Strike Roar. So if they rip like 2 energies here, we're going to go ahead and Dark Signal, bring up the Zacian. If they rip 1 energy, we're going to maybe bring up the Corviknight, because the Corviknight could eventually evolve into a Corviknight VMAX. But we're still vibing out here. So we're going to grab this Houndoom. And I just want to make sure that we have options. So let's go ahead and Tower of Darkness. We want to go ahead, start building up this Pokemon, because that's our last energy that we have there. I probably want to just go... let's go Evolution Incense, see if there's anything else. I'm just going to grab this Houndoom, thin it out of the deck. And I'm going to go ahead and pitch that Houndoom. At least Umbreon V might give us some more things. There's a Capture Energy. I'm going to go ahead, bring up the Corviknights, because the Corviknight will get knocked out as well. So there's Corviknights. And I want to keep things like Air Balloon in the deck. I don't think we necessarily need to worry about it too much. So let's just go for Marnie, lowering our opponent's hand, trying to get an energy for next turn or a boss's orders. So we don't have the boss's orders yet, and we don't have another Umbreon down. So we won't be able to bring up who we want. But we will be able to attack for a decent bit of damage regardless. Worst case scenario is that our opponent will literally just have Dauntless Shield up in the active spot and start hitting us for 130s at a time. We do have another Darkness Energy, so we would be even able to attack with Houndoom. Not that it does a whole bunch of damage, but realistically, we're looking for a boss's orders. The deck does play 2 copies of boss's orders, so that's our game plan. There's nothing else that we're looking for. It's just if our opponent has to now sit here with Zamazenta for the rest of the game, or we get boss and bring up their Zacian or their Kricketune. Oh, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting them to go with CORVIKNIGHT VMAX and getting that set up with Rose. That's not bad at all. If they do end up hitting us for 240, we are going to just hit them for 220, retreating likely. So I think we're in a pretty okay spot there too. Yeah, let's go with this. And we're going to try to thin our hand. Maybe we could draw some cards with Rose Tower. Cool. So we could actually thin some things out of our deck. We don't need to grab anything out of Evolution Incense. We do have a boss's orders there, as you can see. And we will have access to Umbreon V and VMAX. So let's start thinning some things out of our deck. We're not going to need this. So we're going to pitch that away. We're not going to need this. So let's pitch that away. Let's grab an energy onto this Pokemon. At this point, I'm fine with just attaching the Capture Energy there. So we are going to use Rose Tower, so it allows us to draw cards until they have 3 in your hands. So we don't really care too much about that either. At this point, a boss's orders still just wins us the game. Because we could do 180 damage to the Kricketune V, and they're not really knocking us out too much. So let's go ahead and we're going to pitch that energy away. Try to get as close to that boss orders as possible. Let's use Tower of Darkness to take away our opponent's Rose Tower so they won't be able to draw cards. And I'm going to go ahead and retreat here into this Pokemon just so we can attack with a fresh Umbreon VMAX. The reason why we want to attack with the fresh one is because it's going to take away potential for our opponent to knock out prize cards or draw prize cards. Since they can't use G-Max Hurricane next turn, they could go Cheryl, they could go ahead and switch, but I really don't think they're going to do too much. Worst case scenario is that for us is that they play Marnie, and Marnie would take away our boss and put it at the bottom of the deck. So far we've already seen 2 Marnies out of them, and they might just be forced to play a boss's orders on this Pokemon, which would allow us to also grab out an Umbreon V to apply pressure. Umbreon V would work twofold because it gives us an option to attack against Zamazenta V, and it gives us an opportunity to evolve into an Umbreon VMAX to bring up either a Kricketune or a Zacian V, whichever one we can knock out. So depending on what our opponent's doing, I think they're trying to draw more cards with Exciting Stage. They did go ahead and play Marnie, so not really what we're looking for, but if they want to attack with Corviknight, they can't really attack with Zacian, so they might just send up Zamazenta. We have a little bit of options here, and our deck is dwindling down too. So as much as there's only 1 boss left, we're getting pretty close to drawing into it. Just by the top deck, or we can always waste some of these cards, or we can always retreat and then play an Urn of Vitality. We don't want to run out of energies, because that would be a very scary case. But our opponent might just have to send up Zam, and we might be able to just sit there. Okay, so there's their energies. I think they're just going to retreat into the Zam after... Well, they still have the Exciting Stage. So after they use Exciting Stage, they can go ahead and retreat into the Zamazenta, and then they're going to pass their turn. Okay, Intrepid Sword, same thing as passing your turn. You know what I'm getting at. But that's okay. They also should be worried about decking out too. We're going to go ahead here and go Evolution Incense, shuffling up our deck a little bit. I mean, if we ever just get and energy, we're good. I'm just like worried if we have the other, we do have the other urn. We're also down some other things. You want to know what? We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pitch this hand away. It seems a little bit spooky, but we're going to go ahead and pitch this hand away. We should be good just to bring up the Cricketune at any given point and win the game. We're also going to go ahead and take this away, giving ourselves more opportunities now more than ever to get set up. I also kind of want to go like Air Balloon Retreat, but I'm just going to go ahead here and... You want to know what? I'm just going to go ahead and attack with Max Darkness. I know it does nothing, because Dauntless Shield is just going to eat it up since we're a VMAX Pokemon. If they do not play a Marnie this turn, we are, again, in the clear. So they're going to try to take away our single strike energy, or maybe knock out this Umbreon VMAX. It doesn't matter because we are able to retreat into the other one and still bring up the Cricketune. So there's no reason for me to attach energies or Air Balloon, especially when we're just trying to be careful with the amount of resource that we have left. So this game's awkward because our opponent does play Zamazenta. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there's Assault Tackle. And we'll just, I'll just wait until the end. They're going to discard the single strike energy, I believe. Oh, they're going to discard the other one. Okay, cool. So that allows us to do 180. Let's just go like this and attack with the other one. So we're going to retreat here. Boss's orders up this and give our opponent the well played. And we are going to take this game. Boom, knock it on the Cricketune. VVV, winning the game with Umbreon VMAX. It's a sick deck. So we're going to call the coin flip. We lost the coin flip. Hopefully we get to go first, but our opponent is going to be deciding to go first there instead. That's fine. We do have access to a relatively strong hands. And we could get set up. We have access to Capture Energy, Quick Balls, and if our opponent's playing anything that's weak to Darkness, we're in a really good spot. Now, they are playing some kind of water type deck, so we'll have to see what they have going on here. Yes, we'll totally take another card. And they are playing the SUICUNE deck, so SUICUNE can be a little bit scary for us to deal with, because they could just get set up really quickly and attack with Blizzard Rondo ASAP. So there's their water energy. Fleet-footed, pretty big hand, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. We'd probably want to Marty them really quickly. So let's go ahead here and go Great Ball, because if we went Quick Ball first, there's less Pokemon in the deck. So we're going to go Great Ball first, and Great Ball is going to grab us a Houndour. We can get a little bit of information from that first. So we want to get Houndours out ASAP. I'm going to go Quick Ball on the Research. I want to see how many single strike energies we have. We have a decent bit. I'm just going to grab another Houndour. I'm going to go for Capture Energy for another Houndour. At this point, I'm also fine to just put down an Air Balloon on one of the Houndours so we can just free retreat in between knockouts or anything else like that. And then I'm going to play Marnie, just so we can get set up for next turn. So overall, pretty good hand, because we can thin through a bunch of things. We could play Tower of Darkness over our opponent's Pokemon, or we can get out another thing. I think it's going to be relatively difficult for them to get a knockout here. They'll have to, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They could do 180. I don't think they'll be able to do anything because we haven't discarded another Pokemon. So we're going to go ahead here and I think we just go pass. One cool thing that we could have done is maybe done Mean Look on the SUICUNE. Mean Look would have allowed us to hit pretty decently against them. But, and that's only in case they play like a Cape of Toughness or anything else like that. Now here, our opponent might have just missed things, or they might be playing a Research or some kind of supporter. The way that they use Fleet-footed kind of confuses me. Maybe they play, okay. Now it looks like they're playing a supporter for sure. Yeah. So that's fine. Our hand wasn't like anything terrific. And if anything, this hand might be actually even better. So they can go ahead and hit into us, but they will not be able to get the knockouts. Cool. So let's go ahead and go for Evolution Incense. Yeah, let's go Evolution Incense. We want to make sure that we can at least get powered up here with Houndoom. And we still have access to Quick Ball. I think playing Quick Ball here is almost a good idea. So I'm going to go Quick Ball, discarding the Air Balloon. When I say it's almost a good idea, it's because I don't necessarily want to get rid of my Air Balloon, but I'm also fine with it in this occurrence. So as long as we can get an Umbreon VMAX, we're able to attack. We're actually really close to being able to get everything that we want. So let's go for a Tower of Darkness here. I'm going to go Quick Ball away this single strike energy. And we are not going to have the Crobat. So we basically have to draw into what we're looking for. Do we have enough energies? Because we haven't even looked through the deck yet. Let's go for another, I guess, Houndour. Yeah, I think Houndour here seems relatively fine. Like, we will be able to attack, and we want to be able to get things out. I also, like, the thing that I'm more worried about is if I go ahead and go for Single Strike Roar first, I might not be able to get another Houndoom out. So I might not be able to knock out their SUICUNE. I guess if I don't knock out their SUICUNE, I'm in a really awkward place anyways. So let's go ahead and evolve here. We're not going to use the ability because I think the ability is kind of whack this turn. So would you like to switch? No. We're now going to go for Single Strike Roar on our active Pokemon. And we're going to go ahead and pitch away our Tower of Darkness to try to get another Houndoom. Boom. So our Houndoom, we did have enough energy left in our deck to make everything happen. So let's go Single Strike Roar. That's the last energy that we needed. And that's enough to do 220. So this is our second game where we're able to go turn to 220 and just really wipe out one of our opponent's Pokemon. Had we gone first, they would have not got a hit off into us, and we probably would have been on cruise control. This game, we are able to still follow up with another knockout. The only issue is that our hand is relatively, like, not great. Now, we could use a Great Ball to grab out an Umbreon VMAX. Oh, they're just going Snipe Shot, so we're going to be able to knock them out and just be in an amazing position. So there's another Houndoom. We're going to attach an energy here. I mean, at this point, we might as well get out more Umbreon V. I'm going to go ahead and go Tower of Darkness, discard this. We have Boss's Orders as well. So right now, I don't want to use Urn of Vitality because we can get back 2 energies next turn. But it seems like a very simple max Darkness. And next turn, we'll be able to knock out one of those Inteleons to just steal this game from our opponent. So absolutely a quick game that's going to be lasting 4 turns. Giving us this really, like, super powered up Umbreon VMAX. Just absolutely obliterating our opponent's deck. So they might just go ahead and go for an Inteleon VMAX, and they might go 60 damage and lift up one of our energies. If they don't evolve into this Inteleon V, they will literally lose the game. Now, here's a slight issue. And when I'm saying it's a slight issue, is if we do not get an Urn of Vitality, we will not be able to make that play. So depending on what our opponent does here, if they get another Evolution Incense to kind of protect that Inteleon V, we could be in a tough spot, but they might not necessarily even be looking at that. We could also attack into the Inteleon VMAX as well, with one of these other Umbreon Vs, and be in an okay position. Okay, so they are playing around it. They might just go ahead and go like SUICUNE or just grab out another thing as well, or grab a Crobat. So far, no luck there. That's fine. Hydro Snipe is allowing us to do that. Are they going to give us... I guess they're not putting an energy back. Cool. So this is fine right now. I'm going to go ahead and go for Evolution Incense, rip out one of these cards. You can see that we still have the 4 Urn of Vitalities, so I'm still feeling relatively fine about that. I am going to go for Tower of Darkness, discarding a Houndoom. This is a little bit awkward, so I am going to go Dark Energy here. I don't know if there's anything that I want to capture energy for, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Dark Energy here. Do I want to attack into the active for 160? I think I'm going to try to isolate their bench since I'm going to have such a good chance at getting it. So I'm going to go ahead and go Umbreon VMAX. We're going to make this happen. We're going to bring up a Drizzile. If worst comes to worst, we could always just sacrifice the turn. And I'm going to go ahead and go for Marnie. If we get an Urn of Vitality, we're able to get the knockouts, which we did get Urn of Vitality. So we're going to be able to get back all 4 of our energies, which is sick. So Urn of Vitality, 1-2. Urn of Vitality again, 1-2. We're going to get the 1 energy here. Actually, we could just get the knockout with a Houndoom. I actually like getting the knockout with Houndoom more. So we're going to make that happen. Because Houndoom is a single strike Pokemon, we are able to kind of turn ourselves into a single prize card deck. I'm also going to go single strike Roar and get this powered up so that we do have a Pokemon all set up for next turn. So you can see we got those energies back. We were able to attach a lot of energies. Let's go ahead and rip our opponent for 90 damage because we are getting that extra damage as well. And now, even if things go really wrong, our opponent's going to have to go Boss's Orders on the Umbreon. Crazy that we had both of our Crobats as our last 2 prize cards, but like, I mean, it happens. So they're not going to Marnie us, we have game in hands. They're going to be able to knock out our Houndoom, but we're just going to go Boss's Orders, bring up one of their Pokemon. There's no reset stamp in this format anymore, so there's nothing that they can do. The worst that they could do to us is maybe play down a Path to the Peak, thinking that we only have Umbreon VMAX as our Gust Outs. Yep, and we have Boss's Orders in hand. So until there's another hand shuffling discard supporter or anything else like that, or a hand shuffling kind of item, we're absolutely just chilling with this deck and really showing how like devastating it can be. And these are decks that are not weak to dark. Imagine if I was playing against a Shadow Rider or a Dragapult deck. Like, those are pretty much impossible matchups unless this deck just does not set up. So in a best of 1 format, I think that Umbreon VMAX is actually one of my favorite decks to play right now. They do 60 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Yeah, they're going to hit there and hit there. Cool. And we're just going to take out... we'll just take out a Drizzile because that's the easier Pokemon to send up. So, well played. We're going to go ahead and bring this up. Boom. Last prize card. And let's go ahead for Max Darkness and taking that dub. Let's go. That's what we got going on for this deck today, peeps. This deck absolutely obliterating our opponents. Doing 220 damage turn 2 is not an easy feat for most decks, and this deck's just absolutely boosting the energy acceleration, its damage output, its gust effects. Umbreon VMAX to me seems like one of the sleeper best decks in format, and great job again to Jake Pilch for playing this deck and piloting it to his 2nd place finish. The list again is in the description, so feel free to copy and paste that right into PTCGO. Give this video a like if you liked watching these videos, if you liked me getting those big turn 220 damage. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 5,600. I don't want to beg here, but like, it really does help out the channel. Get those subs in, peeps. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Pick up your Umbreons now before they just spike up. You don't need to pick up the alt arts like me because those are pretty expensive. But the deck overall, I'd rather pick up the Umbreons sooner than later because they could spike up. I'll catch up with all y'all. Have a great one. Peace out. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's become a channel member. It's one of those things where I appreciate every single person who watches my videos, and I mean, that's really where it counts, but for the channel members, they've gone out of their way to financially support me, and I truly appreciate that gesture. It's one of those things when I started channel memberships up on my channel, and I just didn't know if anyone was ever going to do it, so I truly appreciate everyone taking the plunge, taking a leap of trust, and investing in me as a content creator. Truly makes a difference for me each and every month. If you haven't already thought about becoming a channel member, you might want to contribute to the channel, and I do put everything back into the channel to make it the best possible place to watch for Pokemon TCG content. Again, I truly appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Cheers. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.